Motorcycle Sports Radio Centre. This is the Motorcycle Sports Radio Weekly Review. Coming up on this week's Weekly Review, Leon Haslam returns to British Superbikes with the Lloyd's GP Moto Kawasaki team. Wee Wizard Alistair Seeley is to return to the Gearlink Kawasaki team to race the Super Sport category at this year's Northwest 200. MotoGP changed the penalty point system after the Rossi punishment in 2015, and Casey Stoner has said that Marc Marquez felt threatened with his presence in the Honda team. We also have the latest from the Dakar Rally, and in Supercross, Jason Anderson has given Husqvarna their first ever win in the AMA Supercross Series. Connor Cummins gears up for the 2016 road racing campaign after a strong finish to the 2015 season. And Josh Elliott joins Tyco BMW to defend the Superstock 1000 title for the 2016 season.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio from the Motorcycle Sports Radio Centre.
Hello and welcome to the pre-season weekly review on Motorcycle Sports Radio. I'm Simon McCready. Thank you so much for joining us today. Just to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, that towards the end of February, when the World Superbike Series starts again, we will have a few changes here on Motorcycle Sports Radio. From then, we will be bringing you a weekly roundup show. So that's every Sunday evening this show will go out, and it will include a roundup of all the weekend's racing results for you. Of course, we are talking about two-wheeled motorcycle sports racing results for you. We're not talking about any other type of racing because to us, no other kind of racing matters, and that is just the way that it is. So just remember, towards the end of February, when the World Superbike Series kicks off again for 2016, we will have a new weekly roundup show that comes to you every Sunday evening, so we hope that you can join us for that.
This is Motorcycle Sports Radio, bringing you the best in motorcycle sports.
Now, please remember as well to like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com Motorcycle Sports Radio. So that's facebook.com/Motorcycle Sports Radio. And on Twitter, we are at Bike Sports Radio. That is at Bike Sports Radio. And if you want to have a look at our website, very basic, but it is there nonetheless, should you wish to have a look at it, it is motorcyclesportsradio.webs.com. Our first story this week then is that Leon Haslam has moved back from World Superbikes to the British Superbike Series for 2016 season. This move sees him join the Lloyd's GP Moto Kawasaki team on the brand new and improved ZX-10R, might I say, which is absolutely fantastic news. So basically this leaves the Lloyd's GP Moto Kawasaki team with three riders in the British Superbike Championship. Obviously we know James Ellison is there, Peter Hickman as well, and now the fantastic rider that is Leon Haslam. Leon Haslam, we know, son of Ron, the legend. Will be great to see him back in the British Superbike Series. For me, I don't know about yourselves, but British Superbikes is one of the absolutely fantastic top series, and it'll be well worth a look now with this fantastic top rider who comes back from World Superbikes. We know that he was with Aprilia last year, and the season before he was with the Pata Honda team. He had a good year last year in World Superbikes, lots of good results. He was on a good bike as well. So it is an absolute pleasure to have this man of so much talent back in the British Superbikes for us to see week in, week out. As we know, the World Superbikes is a class series too, and it is enjoyable to watch, but of course you'll have to agree with me, the races in that never seem to have the atmosphere like they did way back in the day whenever Foggy was racing in them, and we know that there's great atmosphere at the British Superbike races, so you know this will only add to it. Get out there, get over to see some of the BSB races, see this big name coming back to the class as well. It will be great for 2016. Now we know that Haslam is very, very fond of the ZX-10R. He's basically said in the interview interviews that he's done that he was a big fan of the ZX-10R, the old one especially, but now that the brand new and improved ZX-10R is out there kicking ass, well, it was basically a no-brainer. He did decide just after the end of the World Superbike Series in 2015 that he did want to come back to British Superbikes, and he has been waiting for the right deal to come along. And we know that he's known team boss Mark Smith Halverson of Lloyd's GB Moto Kawasaki for a long time, so they got talking and they decided then that he would be added to the squad and they would have a 3-man attack, 3-man assault on the British Superbike Series next year. So we look forward to seeing Leon Haslam out there next year for the Lloyd's GB Moto Kawasaki team. We look forward to seeing this class team have 3 riders as well. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, and let's just see what happens for him in 2016. So welcome back to Leon Haslam.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio from the Motorcycle Sports Radio Centre.
The wee wizard Alistair Seeley has teamed up once more with Gearlink Kawasaki for the Super Sport category at this year's Northwest 200. Seeley returns to Gearlink Kawasaki after a great race there with them in 2013, and this basically will see him hopefully racing in the Superbike and Super Sport category. We know that we did mention a few weeks ago potentially about the Lee Hardy Racing RAF Reserves BMW squad and Seeley teaming up. I know that no further news has been announced about that, but there are supposed to be a few announcements coming this week, so we still are waiting with bated breath to see if that move is going to go ahead with Lee Hardy Racing. But we know for sure that he will be back at the Northwest 200 this year with Gearlink Kawasaki on the Super Sport machine. It will be great to see him back there, given what he did in 2013 and given the fact that he has won 15 races there so far, equaling Robert Dunlap's record. So good luck to Seeley and the Gearlink Kawasaki squad for the 2016 Super Sport category at the Northwest 200.
This is Motorcycle Sports Radio, bringing you the best in motorcycle sports.
MotoGP have changed the penalty point system in the aftermath of the 2015 debacle regarding Rossi and Marquez. Under the new rules, basically, that any riders in this similar situation will now have to gather an additional 4 points on top of their 3 before a further punishment is doled out. Basically, in this case, it would be a pit lane start. The new system basically is designed to punish riders for individual incidents and not repeatedly sanction them for the same offence. The new regulations are an attempt by race control to implement the points in the manner that they were designed to do. So we look forward to the MotoGP season. Obviously, we're looking forward to the Premier class coming back, but a bit of a change there. Obviously, it doesn't do Valentino Rossi any good now. It doesn't change anything that happened now. Let's just forget 2015 MotoGP season, especially the end of it, and move on and look forward to 2016.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio. Remember to download the Spreaker app and follow us on Spreaker to be kept up to date with all of our latest broadcasts.
Casey Stoner has said in an exclusive interview with MCN and their Australian journalist Colin Young that part of the reason he decided to go back to Ducati as a test rider, as an ambassador with the potential for wildcard races, is the fact that he feels that Marc Marquez and his crew felt in some way threatened by him. Now, he has said that he's not sure why this is. He was basically there to test and there was no ambassadorial role for him, and obviously he understands that they have to follow what the number one guy in the Honda team was doing. But he does feel that Marc Marquez and his crew were threatened by the fact that Casey Stoner was there in the HRC setup. So obviously we'll never know that for sure unless Marc Marquez tells us to our face. But there you go, just one of the reasons why Casey Stoner has moved on, moved back to Ducati. In my opinion, a fantastic move for him, which will see him in a greatly expanded role than he had at HRC as a test rider. He obviously will be testing the bikes at Ducati, but as we said, that ambassadorial role is much, much greater. Of course, he won a world championship with Ducati as well as Honda, so they will be glad to have him back. But remember, folks, and remember what was said before, is the fact that there is potential here for him to do those wild card races for Ducati as well. Do we want to see this man back on the grid, lining up with some of the guys that are out there? Of course we do. Against Marquez especially if Marquez was a wee bit jealous of the fact that Stoner was there. Of course we do. We are race fans after all.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio. Remember to download the Spreaker app and follow us on Spreaker to be kept up to date with all of our latest broadcasts.
The latest from the 2016 Dakar Rally now. Red Bull KTM's Toby Price grabbed his third stage win of the 2016 Dakar in Stage 6. This was the longest time portion of this year's event. His teammate Matthias Walkner finished in second place, followed by Team HRC's Paul Gonçalves in third. Gonçalves retains his overall lead after the high altitude day. Through only slightly, basically, with Price trailing in second, just 35 seconds back. Walkner rounds out the overall top three of this year's 2016 Dakar Rally.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio from the Motorcycle Sports Radio Centre.
Anderson has given Husqvarna their first ever win in the AMS Supercross Series after taking victory on the opening night of the season at Anaheim. Anderson chased down the factory Honda of Cole Sweeney after a good second start when the red flags were brought out for a crash between reigning champion Ryan Dungey and James Stewart. James Stewart on his return from a drugs ban, of course. Dungey was fine after the crash, able to make the restart and strong enough to also come through the field to pass Seeley for the runner-up spot. But Stewart, who appeared to lose consciousness in the fall, will of course face concussion testing ahead of next week's second round in San Diego. So there we go. Jason Anderson has given Husqvarna their first ever win in the AMA Supercross.
This is Motorcycle Sports Radio, bringing you the best in motorcycle sports.
Manx man Conor Cummins is ready to build on the strong end he had to the 2015 season. Conor Cummins has basically said he's ready to take a step forward in order to get to where he knows that he can be. Now, obviously, we know that Conor Cummins has signed up to be with Honda for the third successive year, and we know that it is great for Honda, given their rich history with the Isle of Man and stuff like that, to have a Manx man riding for them. But basically, we know early in the season at the Northwest 200 and then at the TT, he struggled a lot to basically get podium spots at those races. And then towards the end of the season, he had basically a much better showing at the Ulster Grand Prix and the Mackay Grand Prix as well. So he is basically ready to kick ass, and we look forward to seeing this Manx man get ready to kick ass in 2016. He's hoping for a better season, and let's hope that he has one as well. ...2015 British Superstock 1000 champion Josh Elliott has signed up with the Tyco BMW squad to race this year's Superstock 1000 Championship. Absolutely fantastic news for Josie Elliott to sign up, obviously, with the Northern Ireland team in Tyco BMW. This will see the Tyco BMW team have two 1000cc Superstockers on the grid for this year's British Superstock 1000cc Championship. And we wish Josie Elliott all the best for the 2016 season. Let's hope he can retain his crown.
You're listening to Motorcycle Sports Radio. Remember to